Hi, YouTube. It's your girl Alida and your boy Jellybean. Honestly, he's just trying to fight with my other dog, so I'm trying to restrain him without him getting mad. Um, Anyways, I'm gonna talk about my reading goals for 2020 and some of my to be reads that I'm super excited for. So, my first reading goal has to do with Goodreads. So I don't really go on there as much as I should. I don't document everything that I read, even if I should. So my goal was 12 books on there. I read 24, so I doubled it, but I added up all the books that I read this year and it's 125. You just don't see them on there. So I'm going to start religiously using Goodreads when I read a book. And my second part of that goal is to stop with the star ratings. Instead of doing the star ratings, I want to do a little review for all the books that I read because the star ratings aren't the same for me. Like, I could really love a book, but because it's not my normal genre or just any reason, then I only give it 4 stars when really it deserves 5 stars. So for silly reasons, I'm going to start not doing the stars and just writing a review. And my last reading goal is to read 52 books in the year of 2020. So it's only 1 book a week. That's not that hard to do. And, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. but I mean, I did like 125 this year. So 52 books shouldn't be that hard. And these bad boys are my picks for the first ones. I mean, obviously there's going to be more because I think that there's only like 20 books in here. 25 books. So let's get into it. So the first one is called The Third Victim by Philip Margonley. I don't know. I can't say it. I'm sorry, guys. But The Third Victim is about this girl that gets away from her kidnappers. And she had been kidnapped and tortured, and she got away. And this is the story of how she is trying to lead the police to the guy that did it. And she's the third victim because the first 2 that they suspect were victims of his were murdered. So she got away before she was murdered, obviously. And I don't know if the synopsis sounds amazing or if it's the fact that it takes place in Oregon, and anything in Oregon is my jam. Oregon, Washington, Pacific Northwest in general. Alright. Then, this one I don't know a whole lot about. I just know Such a Good Girl by Amanda K. Morgan. The only thing I know is that it's kind of like a high school book. It's about this girl named Riley Stone, who is a goody-goody. But she's perfect. She has a crush on her French teacher, and she suspects he likes her too. So I don't know a whole lot about it, but it sounds good. I'll let you know what it's about when I read it. This one is World War Z, so it's a zombie war book. It is a movie too. The movie was pretty good. I usually don't like Brad Pitt, but that was a pretty good movie. So the book should be better, I'm sure. The book always. The book is always 97% of the time better. there is that little tiny room for the movie to be better. But I am excited to read the zombie war. It's actually World War Z. Don't get on me. This one I talked about in my haul video, but it's Anything But Okay by Sarah Derrier Littleman. And it's about Stella and Varda. They are best friends. But things get weird when Stella's brother comes back from Afghanistan, because I guess that he gets in the middle of their friendship and he is kind of down in the dumps, as Stella says. But I think that he has PTSD. And she's trying to get him out of the house. She takes him to the movies so that maybe to cheer him up. But instead, he gets arrested for beating up one of her classmates. So that sounds pretty epic. This one I talked about in my haul as well. It's Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertelli. But it sounds really good. It's about Simon, who is a closeted gay teenager, and he falls in love via email or text message or something modern, some way of speaking modernly. That didn't make sense, but you know what I meant. And his choices are to stay closeted and stop talking to this guy, or to come out of the closet and he might have his forever soulmate. So that one sounds great. Did I mention I Love You? This is part of it, the first part of a trilogy. So if I like this one, I'm sure I'll read the whole trilogy because I have it. But it's kind of like a forbidden romance between Eden and her brother's best friend Tyler. And it's the story of how they fell in love even though they didn't want to, because that's weird, But it sounded really good. I've never read a forbidden romance that I can think of. Well, I mean, besides like Romeo and Juliet, which is a classic. But like, I haven't read like a modern day or a new age day one, so I'm excited. This one I can't tell you much about. I just know it's kind of like a classic and that I've heard about it for years and I've always wanted to read it. It's called The Kite Runner, and I literally know nothing about it. I just know that for some reason I wanted to read it a long time ago, so now I'm going to read it. Okay, and these two are a series, so it's Peaches and the Secrets of the Peaches. I talked about this in my haul video the other day as well, but it's been compared to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. This one has 3 Georgia peaches are in for one juicy summer. Birdie, Lida, and Murphy. So it's a like friendship coming of age book is what I'm gathering. And so I look forward to that one. Okay, this one I talked about in my last video as well. It's called The Shack, and it's about, so this girl goes missing and her dad finds this shack in the middle of the wilderness in Oregon, and he's convinced that she was murdered there. But there's no proof and no one believes him. So 4 years goes on and she's still missing. And he mysteriously gets an invitation to the shack that he believes his daughter was murdered at. And when he goes back, he's supposed to get closure. And it seems like a really good one. This one is a trilogy. It's one book, but all 3 of them are in there. That's why it's so gigantic. Look. It's like as big as my face. Not quite. No, I have a big face. Hiding spot. But it's called The Summer I Turned Pretty Trilogy. I don't know a whole lot about this one either. I just know it's kind of like coming of age first romance type of book. So the trilogy has The Summer I Turned Pretty, It's Not Summer Without You, and We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han. And I look forward to diving into this one. Then this one I showed in my last video as well. It's called Luck's Beginnings. I don't know a lot about this one. I just know there's a girl named Lux and an alien, and I think they fall in love. And aliens. What else do you need? I'm actually really picky about my alien books. They have to be well written and very entertaining. Some of them are very cheesy, and I'm hoping that this one's really good. So, cross your fingers with me. Then, oh, we're getting down there. Okay, then Stephen King is one of my favorite authors. I love stories by him, except for the last one I read. I was not very entertained, but usually I love Stephen King, and this one's called Carrie. So it's about this girl named Carrie who gets bullied a lot, and she goes to prom and gets her revenge on them. And it sounds amazing. Plus, look at that. It's not that huge. Usually Stephen King novels are way out here, you know? But this one's a decent amount. It's not huge, so it's not intimidatingly huge. It's just like a normal novel, which I love it. This one's called The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, I believe. But The Girl on the Train, it's about this woman who always goes on the same train, and she kind of spies on the people that she passes until one day she sees something that she wasn't supposed to see, and it's some kind of secret that she's contemplating on the back of the book if she should tell the police or not. So I'm wondering what kind of secret. Maybe she saw someone get murdered. I honestly have no idea what she saw that scared her, though. This one is like a classic as well. I don't know a whole lot about it. It's called The Book Thief. It's narrated by Death, and that is the only thing that I know about this book. But who wouldn't want to read a book about, or narrated by Death? Come here. Sorry, he's crying. Okay. Now we are getting down to the bottom. So this is a companion novel to The Duff. It's called Lying Out Loud by Cody Kiplinger. I absolutely love The Duff. I've read it a few times, and I can't get enough of it. So I am very excited to read its companion novel. Then Bombshell is one that I believe one of my friends gave me. It's by Rowan Manus. I think I'm pronouncing that one wrong. I'm so sorry for butchering all the authors' names. I am so horrible at that. But this one is about this girl. She's in high school, I believe. And she's your average high schooler, but online, she gets to be anyone she wants to be. So it's essentially her catfishing a bunch of dudes and living these fake adventures that she goes on online, but they are in no way, shape, or form real. So it's kind of like a modern day catfishing story, and that sounds great. I love the show Catfish. So this one is by John Green. It's Will Grayson and Will Grayson. So I guess these boys have the same name and they kind of meet somewhere in their life, and okay, so it just says that two teens with the same name running in two very different circles find their lives going in new and unexpected directions. It's the most epic musical ever. So it's, I don't know, it sounds interesting, and my friends have been recommending it for a while, so I finally just decided that I would read it. Then these ones have major trigger warnings on them, and that is part of the reason that I'm so excited for these. So the first one is Where They Found Her by Kimberly Kimberly McWright, maybe. But Where They Found Her is a story about this baby's body being found under a pile of leaves. You don't know who the baby is, what happened to her, or anything. And I have so many questions going into this book. I hope that it answers every single thing. Like, who was she? Was she a stillborn? Did her parents murder her? If her parents didn't murder her, who murdered her? What happened? This is already tugging at my heartstrings, and I haven't even opened it yet. It's just that I want kids so badly. So this, it's just gonna be a heartbreaker for me. My last two have major trigger warnings on them as well. This one is Dear Nobody, The True Diary of Mary Rose. And it's a true diary of a girl named Mary Rose who gets bullied. And she thinks about committing suicide. And this is kind of the story of why she would do it. And then there's little cartoons like that. And it's in like Dear Diary form, except for it's Dear Nobody. And suicide is another thing that's very close to my heart. So, like I said, the last two are very close to my heart. They're about suicide, or this one is why she wants to commit suicide. And it's because she's bullied and always lonely. And it sounds super sad, but that is exactly why I want to read it. I absolutely love this sad, emotional, heart-hurting stories. And it's okay if you don't, but I do. So I'm very excited for this one. And my last one is Hold Still, which is another trigger warning. It's another one about suicide. But this one is a little bit different because this is Caitlin, and Caitlin and her best friend Ingrid always said that they were going to be best friends forever. They were going to go to the same schools. They were going to do everything together. And then Ingrid commits suicide. And this is the story of why she did it and how Caitlin moves on from it and copes with it. And it sounds so achy to my heart. Like, I feel like I'm gonna cry so much. Just because suicide is not something to joke about. It's emotional, it's real, and I I don't know. I love reading books like that because they make me feel something, and it's so emotional and it's so hard to read. And those are the type of books that I love. I love the hard to read books, like the emotional topics, the things that you don't talk about with people, which we should be talking about it. Um, well, thank you for watching my to be read list and my goals for 2020. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.